Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Glad you can take time out of your day to watch the channel. It's much appreciated. If you hadn't hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button and hit that like button if you like the content. Alright, today I want to go over the baits that I will be using in November and the rest of October. There's not many of them really. There's just about 4 categories, I'd say. That way you'll get from the top to the bottom in the water column. Alright, first of all, I want to say congratulations to my 3 guys in Tri-State Bass Club that is in the top 20 that would be going to regionals and nationals. They fished this last Thursday and Friday, October 27th and 28th. They fished the Arkansas Bass Nation State Championship. Jason Mashmeyer came in 7th overall, and he'll be going to regionals, plus he has an automatic berth in the nationals. Next is Nathan Lavey. I think he came in 14th place, and he'll be going to regionals, and if he does well enough in regionals, he'll be going to nationals. And then Chris Johnson, he came in 19th. He'll be going to regionals, and if he does well enough in regionals, then he will be headed to the nationals as well. I want to say congratulations to those guys. Thank you for representing Tri-State so well, and what a great job you did. Alright, let's get on with getting these baits done. First of all, be the old buzz bait. I fished the buzz bait all the way down to where the water temperature gets about 50 degrees and down in the 40s, and I'll stop. But as long as that water temperature is in the 50s, you'll see me with the True Faith custom bait buzz bait tied on.
Johnson 20-50.
The best conditions for the buzz bait is a little bit of wind and cloud cover. Doesn't matter what water clarity is. I throw it when there's 6 inches of visibility or 6 feet of visibility. I still catch fish on them. I throw it on a 7'3", either a G Loomis or Falcon bait casting rod. I like to use a little bit higher speed gear ratio reel, 7 to 1s, 8 to 1s. That way I don't have to reel real fast to keep it up on top of the water. And I'll be throwing it on anywhere from 14 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. A lot of top waters you'll want to use monofilament because fluorocarbon will sink, and like your walking baits, like a spook, which I would have tied on a spook or a Rapala, the old Rapala stick bait. Those you'd want to use monofilament because when the fluorocarbon sinks, it'll take the nose of your top water down, and it won't work right. So when you're using a Zara spook or a Pop-R or the Rapala stick bait or a can't think the name of them. Anyway, you get the gist. Something sets on the water that you work slowly. You'll want to use monofilament because the monofilament floats and it won't let the nose of your bait go down in the water and mess up your retrieve. The next category of baits I will be using is would be the crankbait. This is an OG Slim 6 here. And I've also got an OG Slim 4. I'll be throwing those two crankbaits up shallow. When the fish is up shallow around rock and wood, they're like a square bill. I'll fish a square bill crankbait just like the buzzbait down till the water temperature gets down in the 40s. After the water temperature gets down in the 40s, I usually change to the jerkbait. But as long as I can fish a crankbait, I will, because I do not like fishing jerkbaits. Another crankbait I'll be throwing will be a Spro rock crawler, the one that dives from 9 to 14 feet. I'll be throwing it a lot. I'll be throwing it on the banks that's 45 degrees and steeper, so I can get down and hit the bottom and bounce it off rocks and wood and whatever's down there on the bottom. And I'll also be throwing, goodness gracious, I'm tired. I'll be throwing the Rapala DT series, the 6, 8, 10, 14, 16, 20, whatever, 18, 20.
Johnson 14, 1050.
Whatever depth the fish is at will tell me what crankbait to tie on. If they're anywhere from the bank out to 6 or 8 foot deep, it'll be the flat-sided OG Slim. That's another thing I like about the OG Slims. They're flat-sided. This time of year and in the spring, they like a flat-sided crankbait a lot. Has a little bit different wobble to it, a little bit tighter wobble than the rock crawler. Anyway, say the fish is anywhere from, like I was saying, 0 to 6 or 8 feet. Be throwing the OT Slims or a square bill crankbait. When they start getting out 6 to 12 feet, that rock crawler and the DT 10, 12, 14s.
Washington County, Johnson 14, 1050.
Usually throw a crankbait that dives a foot or two deeper than what the fish are. That way my bait stays on the bottom longer and in that strike zone longer, and bouncing it off them rocks and stumps and stuff is what you want to attract the fish and get a reaction strike. I'll throw those crankbaits on 7'3", 7'6", medium light rod. You want the tip to be more of a light action rod, fighting those fish with those treble hooks in their mouth, because those treble hooks can come out real easy, especially if they get up there and jump. And then 10-pound fluorocarbon, and I don't really use a real fast gear ratio reel for my crankbaits. I just reel it fast enough to keep it on the bottom. Another bait I'll be using will be a True Faith custom bait jig, either the finesse jig or a full size jig. With the water cooling off, I will not use a trailer that has as much action as I do in the summertime. I may use a twin tail grub or a chunk or something like that. It doesn't have quite as much action. Zoom makes some good craw products that doesn't have a lot of kick and action. I'll throw that on a 7'3" medium heavy or heavy action rod with a kind of a medium to fast gear ratio reel, with anywhere from 14 to 20 pound test fluorocarbon. Then I'll also be using throwing a a spinnerbait some if the fish is up shallow. Spinnerbait or chatterbait, either one, if they're up shallow or around rocks and wood cover, especially wood cover with the spinnerbait, as long as the water temperature stays above 50 degrees, I'll be throwing one of those. And last but not least, I'll be throwing a True Faith custom bait wobble head with a Big Bite Baits lost my mind, I can't think of my bait. Fighting Frog, Big Bite Baits Fighting Frog. I'll be throwing one of those. And anywhere from the bank all the way out to 20-25 feet, and just let the fish tell you how they want the tree. Sometimes they want us slow, steady reel, kind of like you're throwing a crankbait, letting it drag across the bottom. Sometimes they just want you to throw it out there, and they want you to move it with your rod, and then take up the slack. Pull it a little ways, take up the slack. You just have to let the fish tell you how they want it. I'll be throwing it on the same setup as I will a jig, and those are basically the baits that I'll be using in November. Once the water temperature gets down in the 40s, which I don't expect it to get down in the 40s in November unless we just have unseasonably cold weather. I expect the water temperature to stay above 40s in the 50s and low 60s for November. But once it gets down to 40s, you'll want to start breaking out your jerk baits. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you have a blessed weekend and a blessed next week. Be safe on Halloween, and I will talk to you later.